Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
This is, I think, a blessing in disguise that you are staying at home. People are staying at home. To reskill as much as possible. If you're a little enthusiast, look at where your really interests lie.
Hi guys, today we have another Professor of the Year with us from NITIE right here in Bombay, Dr. Ranjan Chaudhuri. Sir, thank you so much for coming and doing this in the middle of the lockdown, in the middle of so much stress going on around us. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you.
Sir, I want to ask you, if I am an MBA aspirant or I'm looking at business education and retail marketing is something that interests me, what are some of the new careers or aspects or areas that are going to emerge from here on that I should, focus on, I should get better at so that I do well in my career in retail marketing?
I think what probably fascinates me as a facilitator, as an instructor in retail marketing or marketing per se, is the tantalizing sense of exclusivity that probably retail as a subject, as a course, as a discipline brings to the entire gamut of marketing sciences, and that's truly wonderful. So this is probably one of the very few courses in marketing sciences which encompasses learning not only from core marketing sciences, but encompasses learning from operations research, encompasses learning from quantitative techniques, encompasses learning from artificial intelligence and machine learning to operations management, supply chain management, and little bit of course, little bit of creative liberal arts when you talk about visual merchandising. And now all happening in the context of traditional trade moving to modern retail moving to electronic commerce, or a more hybrid model where we have fusion of brick and mortar and e-commerce spectrum, which we are witnessing currently now. For those students who are looking forward to develop competence in retail, should keep in mind that there are few trains which are shaping before I come to what skills they need to develop. There are certain very distinct trains or changes rather, which are happening in this space. The first important change that is happening is engagement with the customer. The customer of yesteryears and the customer of today are very different. Today, my son, who is in the 7th standard, does a Zoom meeting to attend a class. My kids or their generation are much more comfortable, much more convenient in a digital spectrum than in a typical physical face-to-face spectrum that we have been so used to as students when we did our own schooling. So engagement with digitally intermediated customer is something that is, of course, is a very strong determining trait for any retail enthusiast for today to understand. The second is that I always believe, and I that's probably, you can say, my own 4 P's or a recalibrated 4 P's is: one, there should be a lot of power to the consumers, and consumers today truly are looking for power in terms of equality of status, in terms of information. They are at the corporate end, the companies end, at the consumer's end. So there's complete dissemination, sharing of information. That's a power. The power lies in ability to trust the company or the company's offering. The power lies in the ability to be transparent in terms of the dealings or in terms of the proceedings that the consumer would go through. So consumers are looking for the first P is power. The second P is the prestige. And the prestige is going to be not for one. So it is not the high net worth individuals alone who are looking to have a sense of euphemism around his interactions with a corporate. It's for the people who are still at the SECB or SECC level. They are also looking for certain amount of prestige, which my fellow author Justin Paul talks of in terms of prestige for the masses. So consumers are also looking for some amount of prestige, some amount of a perceptual halo effect in terms of their interactions with customer. Second, the third P is consumers are looking for lot of privileges, both spoken as well as unspoken. When I say privileges in the digital context, it is about user experience. It is about the urge to be sticky around a product or service. It is the urge not to abandon your cart at the last moment. So you need to understand what are these privileges that the consumers are looking for when they try to interact with you. And fourth, as all consumers would look forward to, immense possibilities, possibilities for new products, possibilities for new services from the company, possibilities for new way of engaging with the company. So put it together, power, prestige, privileges, and possibilities. So in order to synchronize all of them, what you need as a retail marketing to reskill is you start leveraging your own assets. So your assets might be your competence in a specific area. You must be extremely good in quantitative techniques. You can be extremely good in modeling. You can be extremely good in coding. These are things that as marketeers, we desperately need to have in our new generations. We need to understand ways that the chatbots or the voice bots would be performing for assistance, where there is somebody called Obhilasha or somebody called Pradyot at the end of Danzo as a customer support executive supporting you at this hour of the crisis. So we would replace them. We'd replace them. So we require reskilling. We require more reskilling. So we require you to learn, reskill as much as possible. And this is, I think, a blessing in disguise that you are staying at home. People are staying at home. To reskill as much as possible. If you're a little enthusiast, look at where your really interests lie. You would be in market, you would be interfacing your consumer, but reskill yourself. So leverage on that. Try to understand the immense opportunity of social media, the second aspect, because social media is going to be in a big way. Already social media commerce has already started gaining traction pre-COVID-19, and it will gain further traction, further momentum post-COVID-19 scenario. The third aspect the students should possibly take into account is to also believe in the in the possibility of active discovery. Now, this is of course a change from what the students are typically used to. The students are used to lot of rote learning, classroom teaching, lot of feeds from the instructors. From this, the students have to move forward to more active learning. Try to explore contents online. Try to have more of self-discovery. I can tell a student in the class of what is happening around, but until and unless a student actually goes to the field, and that I strongly tell my students that marketing cannot be taught in the class. You need to actually visit. So if I'm teaching retail, please go and visit retail, not as a consumer, but as a passive observer, just to see the kind of soft voice, soft data, which possibly we can collect. Flipkart and Amazons of the world are collecting a lot of hard data. As marketing enthusiasts, along with hard data, we also require a lot of soft data that goes around the product or goes around the service. So if a consumer is preferring Devaiya Dawat Basmati rice 5 kg packing over India Gate 5 kg packing Basmati rice, which has a price differential of, let's say, 150 or 200 rupees. So definitely there is a very strong dominant logic that happens in a consumer interaction when the consumer is shopping with family, with wife or children. I think this is very important for us to capture. This is very important for us to know why a particular tint of color or shade of color is going. So active discovery, whether that happens at the physical realm or that happens at the digital realm. So learning more on self, learning more with your own level of motivation, and learning about markets, learning about what's new in the market, learning about what changes, what kind of shifts are required for me to graduate myself from a passive learner, from a mere rote learner or a student of MBA going through the textbooks, to a student who is going to be probably managing the affairs from the day zero that he joins a corporate. I think this change, this transformation was of paramount importance. Possibly, I think post-COVID-19, students are going forward to this. And you possibly find that there is going to be a lot of changes the way the thought processes happened earlier and the thought processes happen now, post-COVID-19.
Right.
Students who would possibly look forward in that direction. And the fourth is, important aspect is, and that's the last important aspect, I think, understanding and believing that things can change anytime, anywhere. And I need to be prepared for it. I think that's going to be, and prepare themselves for any eventualities. So I think the very method or the very approach by which we taught strategy is going to change. And it is going to be the new, I think, normal is the strategy of uncertainty. It's not the strategy of certainty. So you already seen that conventional approaches like regression analysis or building with data forecasting will not hold good anymore. Things can happen anywhere and things can go haywire at any point of time. So more of predictive analytics, reskilling more on this predictive analytics, reskilling oneself more on data sciences. I think these are extremely important. So I think when you actually practice more and more 4 of these, I think you make yourself more agile, more adaptive, and possibly more employable in the new COVID 2019 normal. I think that's what I have, probably what I need to say for those people who would be looking forward to join an MBA program and possibly are looking forward to be in the marketing spectrum.
Right. Sir, another aspect which is your specialty is rural marketing. Now, back when I was in B school, rural marketing used to work very differently. The platforms used to be very different for doing rural marketing versus doing your conventional marketing. But today, with the reach of technology, with 4G being available in most parts of the country, what is unique and different still about rural marketing versus your normal marketing?
If you actually look at the convergence of the aspirations of the consumers, whether they are in Mumbai or whether they are in a tier 2 or a city or a tier 3 city or in the rural hinterlands, possibly you would not find much difference right now, because everybody has access to information, everybody has access to technology. The biggest challenge, of course, I think, is the reach for the companies. Being in Mumbai at this hour of the crisis, I witnessed when I'm ordering through application portals or when I'm actually visiting some of the local grocery store, I have to be complacent with products or with brands which I'm not familiar with. I'm still sure that they have the FFSI tags and they still are hygienically prepared and packed. But when you actually visit rural markets, you possibly understand the kind of magnanimity of the people in terms of innovations which they create to develop lookalikes or to develop counterfeit products, which unfortunately consumers have accepted so far. So reaching the final mile for companies had been a challenge and is still a challenge. So companies look forward to a solution, and the solution came in front of many companies in the form of socially responsible distribution. But I think there again is an intrinsic challenge, because our lingua franca in the metropolises is predominantly either the national language, which is Hindi, or it's English. But when you're talking about India and not Bharat, or Bharat, not India, I think the challenge is to understand that we have 26 major languages spoken with 6,250 dialects. Communication becomes a major challenge. How to reach them, how to convince them, how to make them aware that, hey, this is the product that is right for you, and you need to be aware, you need to be more vigilant before you need to make your next purchase decision. I think just to get a consumer to open a bank account, JDY or Jan Dhan Yojana, took a lot of structural intervention in terms of realigning, reconfiguring the behavior architecture, where people were so conversant and so happy with their existing moneylender system. So,
Right.
so moving them from that to a new stage where banks were there to offer them loans to a lot of, I think, patience, a lot of sacrifices for those people, and kudos to the bank officials, kudos to the Indian financial system who actually made this transformation. Today, we have more and more people under this scheme where people have more and more financial equity. So we already gave rural consumers digital equity. We have now given them financial equity. And what is the challenge, Mr. Sanghvi, is to give them information equity, to give them awareness equity. I think that is the challenge when I, as a student of marketing sciences, really look forward to marketing products in the rural hinterlands. Consumers have to be made aware and consumers have to be empowered. So did I mention about the 4 P's? The first P is power. So this power, this is one of those P's that is so desperately needed at the base of the economic pyramid. You need to make them more and more empowered. And for that, once again, you have to relook, realign, reconfigure your entire value network. And I think post-COVID-19 situation will help to do that. Will probably help rethink of how you reach to the remotest, to the farthest level of your socioeconomic pyramid, so that they are also at the same tier, same level as the people who is in Worli or who is in Sakinaka or who is in Gurgaon or who is in Bangalore. So we need to make them, every one of them at par. And that's what we are looking forward. In any adoption diffusion process, the curve will always look like a normal distribution. So it will have its own skewness and kurtosis. But said that, I think today's consumer, particularly Indian consumer, have understood learning from global learnings.